Scott.
Aye.
Berenstein.
Aye.
Bertrand.
Aye.
Rayford.
Aye.
Shaner.
Aye.
I make a motion during the closed session.
Second.
Berenstein.
Aye.
Bertrand. Rayford. Shaner.
Aye.
Scott.
Call the roll, please.
Bertrand. Rayford.
Here.
Shaner.
Here.
Scott.
Here.
Berenstein.
Here.
Please stand for a moment of silent prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States.
Bob and Julie Mesmer. These are good friends of mine, and they deserve a little recognition today. Whereas Bob Mesmer has served the community for 22 years as a Sioux City Community School District bus driver, safely transporting and caring for countless students, while also dedicating nearly 50 years of service to the Triangle Lodge as a Mason and receiving the Scottish Rite Honor of the Knight Commander Court of Honor, KCCH. How old are you today, Robert?
90.
90. Drove a bus, just retired this year. Whereas Julie Mesmer began her lifelong commitment to caring for children when she welcomed her first foster child on December 30th, 1971, and later opened a daycare in Sloan for 10 years, providing care and guidance for many young children. And whereas together, Bob and Julie devoted 20 years to foster parenting, opening their home to 89 foster children and providing them with love, stability, and support, and ultimately adopting 3 of those children and inspiring their grandson and his wife to adopt another. Whereas their compassion, generosity, and dedication to children and family, Bob and Julie have touched countless lives and created a lasting legacy of service to this community. Now, therefore, I, Robert E. Scott, Mayor of the City of Sioux City, on behalf of the City Council and the citizens of Sioux City, do hereby deem it an honor and a pleasure to extend this commendation to Bob and Julie Mesmer on the occasion of their retirement and thank them for their dedication to caring for children and wish them the best in the new chapter of their lives. We want to present that to you, and if you, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you so much. I didn't have a clue why I was down here today. And, but it's been a pleasure. Like I say, I was with Sunshine for 47 years, so I've really enjoyed my life in Sioux City. Wouldn't trade it for any place else. And if you look at the surrounding countryside, Sioux City is still the best place to be. Thank you very much.
Very nice.
We have a proclamation today. Jim McCabe. There you are. Whereas brain injury is a serious public health epidemic affecting at least 13.5 million Americans. Whereas an estimated 2.5 million children and adults in the U.S. sustain a traumatic brain injury, and another 3.5 million individuals sustain an acquired brain injury for non-traumatic causes each year. And currently more than 6 million children and adults in the U.S. live with a lifelong disability as a result of a traumatic brain injuries. Whereas many of our soldiers have reported symptoms related to concussion and brain injury, including slow thinking, memory loss, sleep disturbance, attention and concentration deficits, and brain injury, which is the leading cause of disability among soldiers returning to their communities. Whereas a concussion is also a serious brain injury that can occur without loss of consciousness and can occur in any sport. And recognition and proper management of concussions when they first occur can help prevent further injury or even death. And as many as 3.8 million sports and recreation-related concussions occur in the U.S. each year. Now therefore, I, Robert E. Scott, Mayor of the City of Sioux City, Iowa, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim March 26th as National Brain Injury Awareness Month in Sioux City and encourage all citizens to help enhance the public awareness of traumatic brain injuries and salute the mission of the Brain Injury Association of Iowa. I'd like to present this to you and say a few words if you would.
Yes, of course. Well, opportunities are limited. I'm proud to be part of our Sioux Lane community for nearly 35 years, supporting those impacted by traumatic brain injury and other special needs. Thank you. You know, we love being part of the community where we can rely on the support of so many, but also we enjoy giving back to our community in a number of different programs. As person served staff and advocates of OU, we do want to bring awareness, of course, to National Brain Injury Awareness Month. And as a member of the Brain Injury Alliance of Iowa, also make sure people are aware of the different programs and services and what there can be done for brain injury prevention. We do know that brain injury is the leading cause of death and disability in children and young adults. This year, there will be over 2.4 million Americans who will sustain a brain injury. We know that the #1 cause of TBI injury is due to falls, and 25% are due to motor vehicle accidents. At OU, many of our employees have taken a national course called have become certified brain injury specialists and have completed this national course. We have over 40 who have committed to this training and certification. To help advocate with prevention, OU created a program nearly 20 years ago, which is called Got a Brain, Get a Helmet. And in this program, we reach out to second grade students throughout Siouxland. And this year, again, we're going to be able to give every second grade student a helmet with the support of Vern Eide, a local sponsor. We've also partnered with our Sioux City Police Department for an awareness program called You've Been Ticketed. This runs every summer, and it's a nice partnership between Dairy Queen, our police officers, and OU to, again, bring awareness to brain injury. This year, just last week actually, we had 5 members of our team join the State of Iowa's Brain Injury Conference, and we were able to serve as exhibitors, talk about the services provided in Siouxland by OU, and again, just help bring awareness to brain injury. We, for nearly 35 years, have been providing residential and rehab care to those with brain injury at a level called ICF. About 5 or 6 years ago, we expanded our services to another program called CNRS, Community-Based Neurobehavioral. We're one of just 5 organizations in the state of Iowa that's licensed to provide this level of rehab care. A little over a year ago, we expanded our home and community-based services by opening up 2 more homes, and I'm excited to announce today that we have another plan for expansion, and in about a month, we'll be opening up 2 more homes licensed as home and community-based services. So again, recognizing the need here in Siouxland and doing our part in growing as we can. We know that every brain injury is different. There's an often repeated adage amongst brain injury community that says, if you've seen one brain injury, you've seen one brain injury. We are excited, again, to have the support of Siouxland, our city council. We will continue to provide excellent level of care to those in the Siouxland community, where we serve over 200 each year. And again, we're glad just to help support awareness and also prevention where we can. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go to interviews for parking and Skywalk. Sam Avery.
Hi, Sam.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good.
Go again, huh?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. I've
Well,
been
tell the
on
new guys a little bit about yourself, so.
Yeah, Sam Avery with Visual Edge IT. My office is right downtown Sioux City, just a block right down the street. I'm connected to the MLK parking ramp, so I basically work in our parking and deal with the homeless and pretty much deal with that every single day. So I like being on this board. I think I've been the chair now of the board for 4 years, something like that, and I've been on the board for about 7. So I would love to continue and keep providing my insight in any way I can. And yeah,
Sam,
any questions?
You're worth every penny you get paid.
Well, thanks.
All right, thanks,
Questions?
Sam.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Wastewater Treatment Plant Reconstruction and Design Advisory Committee, Dean Bradham. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to serve.
Well, I was born here in town. I guess I see that we're going to be doing construction. It looks like it's a pretty big job. I've been going to the meetings, and they haven't had a quorum. So I was looking at helping have a quorum at the meetings, and being, you know, a citizen, I like to be involved a little bit as I can. So that's why I'm applying for it, to see what happens. I think it's temporary because it's about ready to be over anyway. As
Well,
far as
that may
for
be the
the
case or
board.
may not. We're probably going to have to discuss that, but some
Yeah,
of
we'll
us,
extend it.
some of
Yeah.
us think that it's going to be extended, would like
Okay.
it to be extended.
So I'm applying to see if I can help on the board there, whatever I can do. I've got about going on 30 years in the plumbing industry, so I've got a little bit of knowledge. I have worked at the wastewater treatment plant myself, in and out of there in the tunnels and stuff, so. And I like to go down to the park down there and utilize it. It'd be nice if it didn't stink every time I went in there, you know, hoping something can change with that.
Thanks, Dean. I was going to ask if you could, this is one of the committees that requires a level of understanding and background. So I wondered about your background, but you shared your background, and the fact that you've been going to the meetings is helpful, so I appreciate your interest in wanting to formalize it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jose Monte, I can't talk today, Montes.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hello.
Jose Montes, in the trades for the Iron Workers Local 21. I'm the business agent as well as the organizer, and I'm currently now the Northwest Iowa Building Trades President. So just kind of try to help this committee see how we could grow Sioux City and stuff like that through our the trades that we have to offer. So we have about a dozen of us here in this area, and yeah, try to learn more about Sioux City and try to make it grow.
So Jose, as an organizer, what's your substantive background in what trade or what skill?
So myself, I'm an iron worker, and I've been an iron worker for over 23 years. So.
Okay, great. Thank
And
you.
like I said, some of my partners are here from the local 234. The operators was a plumber steam fitter. You just seen that, but we have other 10 more affiliates with the Northwest Iowa Building Trades. So
Great.
we're here to help.
Thanks for your interest.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Andrew Pritchard.
How's it going? Andrew Pritchard, work for Cargill as the refinery superintendent. So I deal with a pretreatment plant, just like what you guys deal with. Heavy industrial user for a few years now. I've been in Sioux City my whole life. Lived and worked here. So I think I'm uniquely qualified as I already know how it operates, probably more than most.
You know how it's not operating.
And I know what happens when you don't do well, and I've been there too, so.
Great, I think you'll make a great asset too. I'm on that team, so we'll be seeing you there.
Any other questions?
No, with Dean and Jose, Andrew, I appreciate the three of you showing willingness, and I think you'll all do a great job. Thanks to all of you.
We just had some people move out of the city.
Thank you.
Which is why we have these openings.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go to the consent agenda today. That's items 3 through 11D. You can consider them to pass unanimously unless a separate roll call is requested by a city council member.
I'll move the consent agenda.
Anyone wanting to speak on the agenda item may come up to the podium at the time the item is being discussed. If you want to speak on an item not on the agenda, come up under citizen concerns. And Bob and Julie, if you don't want to stay anymore, you're free to go today. Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
3 is the reading of the March 2nd City Council minutes. 4 is a motion appointing Catherine Pappel to the Active Transportation Advisory Committee upon due consideration of the circumstances. The City Council waives the policy that no person shall serve on more than one board or commission. 5 is a resolution scheduling a meeting on the proposed property tax levy. 6 are actions relating to bonds. A is a resolution scheduling a meeting on the proposition to authorize a loan agreement and issuance of general obligation capital loan notes for general corporate purposes, GCP1. B is a resolution scheduling a meeting on the proposition to authorize a loan agreement and the issuance of general obligation capital loan notes for general corporate purposes, GCP2. C is a resolution scheduling a meeting on the proposition to authorize a loan agreement and the issuance of general obligation capital loan notes for essential corporate purposes, ECP. 7 are actions relating to agreements and contracts. A is a resolution awarding a service provider agreement to Richard Hansen for the maintenance and garbage collection of various city locations. B is a resolution approving a consulting services agreement with Black & Veatch to perform a comprehensive wastewater treatment plant and environmental audit. C is a resolution approving the renewal option number 2 to the service provider agreement with C&C Lawn Care for the Public Works Seeding Project. D is a resolution approving First Amendment to the Development Agreement and Minimum Assessment Agreement with Siouxland Developers for the development of a portion of the property at 3400 Line Drive. E is a resolution approving a corrective city deed to Siouxland Developers for the development of a portion of property at 3400 Line Drive. 8 are actions authorizing payments. A is a resolution approving change order number 5 and authorizing payment to Kramer and Associates for the bridge overlays project. B is a resolution authorizing payment to INA Construction for the sidewalk ramp project. C is a resolution authorizing payment to Steve Harris Construction for the Glen Oaks Boulevard paving project. 9 are actions relating to property. A is a resolution proposing sell property adjacent to 2121 West 17th Street. Petitioners James and Helen Anderson. B is a resolution proposing to sell property to West 17th and John Street. The petitioners Michael and Hannah Dolan. C is a motion of proposing to sell property adjacent to 2423 South Cypress Street. The petitioners Deborah and Timothy Angerman. 10 are applications for alcohol license, and 11 are boards and commissions and committee minutes. Anyone to be heard on any of those items? Seeing none.
I'll be calling the roll today. Bertrand. Rayford.
Aye.
Shaner.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Berenstein.
Aye.
12 is a hearing and ordinance amending Chapter 25.05 of the Sioux City Municipal Code entitled Site Development. The petitioner is the City of Sioux City. P&Z recommends approval. I'll move that.
Second.
Andrew Gleiser, planning is going there.
I'm sorry,
refer to
public
Chris.
hearing's open. Go ahead.
Chris Madsen, Planning Division Manager. At this time, we are asking for a 6-month extension of the moratorium on off-premise signs or billboards. We were ready to present to the Planning and Zoning Commission. We'd actually presented to them twice. We did meet with the billboard companies as well. In the last about 4 weeks, we've been approached by another 3 or 4 off-premise sign companies that want to locate in Sioux City. So we want to be able to take a little bit more time, meet with those companies, and come back with a revised ordinance.
Does a 6-month extension address the other companies that want to come into Sioux City and manage within their timeframes of when they plan to begin operating?
I don't know if any of them have any sites in particular that they've discovered. I think they're waiting to see what the updated regulations would be before they do that. But this would give us time to meet with the joint Planning and Zoning Commission, City Council as well in June. And at that time, we would like to present a ordinance that we've already met with the sign companies on, and then begin the approval process after that.
So do you need 6 months or is 3 months?
6 months gives us a little extra time in case there's any drastic changes that we would have to make, because we want to include the companies in any additional changes before we bring that forward.
If we feel like we get it done, we can always bring it
We can
back.
always end it before that 6
Okay.
months, correct?
Yeah.
And if you're into June, that's really 4 months, so that's fine.
Yeah, and when Bob doesn't agree with what we talk about at the joint meeting.
You
gives
should
us
have
a little
never
time.
let these monsters come to town to
Fix
begin with.
something.
Currently, we have 7 companies that we're talking to that wish to place billboards in Sioux City.
I'll withdraw my motion, or I'll make a motion, I guess I can, to delete.
Yeah. I'll second.
I'm sorry, the ordinance before you is to grant the 6-month moratorium.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
okay,
Yep.
okay.
How many are in the queue right now? How many have applied for permits?
We have 2 active permits currently that applied before the moratorium went into place. With the moratorium, we can't accept any additional applications.
So educate me on the moratorium again. I'm not saying, I'm just curious. Why did we put a moratorium in?
City Council did give us direction about 6 months ago to increase the regulations. After our previous code change, we saw 5 permits were issued in a relatively short amount of time. So council gave us direction to place a new moratorium in review for additional regulations. What we've been looking at is setbacks between on-premise signs and off-premise and how we can look at that, something that we haven't done before. One of the items that we were looking at is a potential cap and replace. A lot of cities in the vicinity are doing that currently since our last ordinance change. That would prohibit any new company from coming into town, so that's why we want a little bit more time to take that provision out and look at a couple different ideas.
So do you differentiate between digital and the standard billboards or not?
That was our change in 2023, 2024, was a difference between static and digital, correct? So our code does differentiate on that currently.
What's happening that caused this is we had I guess I call it a loophole that we all missed the last time we updated the ordinance that allowed off-premise signs to be put on premise. So as you're seeing billboards coming into the parking lots of Pizza Ranch, out by Sneaky's, et cetera, we're not able to control what that skyline, what that overshadows existing businesses that are already there because Pizza Hut or Pizza Ranch, for example, decided to lease them that pole space. So now what does that do to any of the other businesses that are there? And how much of that do we want in our skyline along our corridors that allow a digital sign? And we just didn't have that control to say, well, wait a minute, you can't have this enormous billboard, you're
I
blocking
understand that. Why are
business who's been there for
second and
20 years,
third?
or, whatever that might look like. So we want to take a step back and say, is this really what we want our skyline to look like? Is this what we want? Do we want these big off-premise billboards stuck inside these parking lots in little strip malls and other businesses because someone else allows them to put it on their little piece of property?
And what have we been doing the last 6 months?
We've been reviewing other cities' codes and meeting with the sign companies. We did have a draft that we presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission, but with the influx of additional sign companies at the end, we want to request that additional time.
So this is the outside companies are going to come in, build them with the idea that Lamar's here now and then they're going to buy them out. Is that the goal? Is that the new model that we're seeing?
Our understanding from what Lamar has told us is when they locate into a community,
Yeah.
that they tend to have other sign companies follow them. So I think that's what we're seeing with these additional companies.
For the purpose of competition, not for
Yeah.
the purpose of
Competition, correct.
Well, they end up buying them out. They build them with the idea that eventually they,
Yeah.
that's why they chase them. Okay, thanks.
Okay, call the roll.
On first reading, Rayford,
Aye.
Shaner,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Berenstein,
Aye.
Bertrand.
Aye.
Anybody opposed to waiving the rules?
No?
Second.
Shaner,
Aye.
Scott, Berenstein,
Aye.
Bertrand,
Aye.
Rayford.
Aye. Second.
Scott, Berenstein,
Aye.
Bertrand,
Aye.
Rayford, Shaner.
Aye.
Hearings 13 is a hearing and resolution approving plans and specs for the annual sidewalk program project. I'll move that.
Second.
Public hearings open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed.
Scott,
Aye.
Berenstein,
Aye.
Bertrand,
Aye.
Rayford,
Aye.
Shaner.
Aye.
14 is a hearing and resolution accepting the proposal of Ozark Commercial Properties for the lease of certain land in the combined central Sioux City CBD urban renewal area and approving the lease agreement, the property of 124 Pierce Street. I'll move that.
Second.
Public hearings now open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed.
Berenstein,
Aye.
Bertrand,
Aye.
Rayford,
Aye.
Shaner,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye. 15 is a motion appointing Alex Waters to the Active Transportation Advisory Committee, deferred from February 23rd, March 2nd, 2026. I'll move that.
Second.
The On this, I presented some information as we did our due diligence. All I would ask is that the council members reviewed that, they understand what they saw. Again, I just, I'm a no, that's okay, but let's get it off the docket.
Call the roll.
Bertrand,
No.
Rayford,
Aye.
Shaner,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Berenstein.
Aye.
16 is a resolution approving a consulting services agreement with DGR Engineering for the Pulaski Park Stormwater Pipe Replacement Project deferred for March 6, 2026. I'll move that.
Second.
I still would like some explanation why we spent $1 million for a tube that we're never going to use, and I know you don't know, but somebody around here has to know the history of that pipe. It just makes no sense what we're doing today. Go ahead, call the roll.
Did we get the answer why we're not using the,
Yeah, because we sold some land probably for Echo that doesn't allow us to, which,
Okay.
who the heck would do that after you spend $1 million on a pipe?
Gordon Fair, city engineer. What was your question? Why we built it?
yes,
That I couldn't answer. That was done in,
Well, there
Early
had to be a
90s.
reason. It
The
was
Paul
to
Stensland
drain
question that
that,
he was
it was to
asking?
drain that area.
it's just for future, I guess. I have no idea. I can't explain it either.
but
'Cause it
now we're
doesn't-
not allowed to use it.
No, we're allowed to use it, but we'll have to tunnel underneath the railroad and purchase property over there off of Cunningham in order to get a pipe across to the channel.
I can't believe the state made that a project without, go ahead, call the roll.
Sorry, Gordon.
Rayford,
Aye.
Shaner,
Aye.
Scott,
No.
Berenstein,
Aye.
Bertrand.
No.
Citizens' concerns, any citizen want to be heard, please come to the microphone, state your name for the record, please.
Legend Campbell.
Go ahead.
Good evening, council members. My name is Legend Campbell, and I am here today to speak about the importance of protecting funding for the Sioux City Public Library. Libraries are not just buildings with books. They are one of the most widely used and impactful public resources our city has to offer. The number from the library's own reports make that clear. In the past year, the library saw 239,763 visitors across all locations. That is nearly 250,000 people in our community that have walked through those doors looking for resources, education, and opportunity. The library circulated over 320,000 items, which averages out to roughly 879 items checked out every day. That level of usage shows that our community actively depends on the library, and the services the library offers extends far beyond books. 18,461 computer lab sessions assisted citizens in completing schoolwork, job applications, and essential online tasks. Also, 16,410 citizens attended library events and programs. These programs support children learning to read, students completing homework, job seekers looking to find better opportunities for themselves and their families, and overall, a space families can go to spend more time with each other. The library also helps Sioux City residents by keeping money in residents' pockets. In fiscal year 2025, people saved roughly over $3 million by borrowing materials instead of buying them. This is money staying in our residents' pockets. For many people, the library is an essential part of their everyday life. Many students, seniors, and even families without reliable internet access rely on the library every day to get simple things done, like homework or maybe even filling out forms. Cutting funding into the system doesn't just reduce a line in a budget. It reduces opportunities, it reduces access to education, it limits the places Sioux City already has to offer for families to go, as well as a support system that many members of our community rely on every day. The Sioux City Public Library already operates on a budget of roughly $4 million, but it continues to serve tens of thousands of residents and provide millions of dollars in community value. Instead of weakening a service that is a better one than most of the city has to offer, we should be looking for ways to strengthen it. Libraries build stronger communities, as you can see in this room today, better educated students, and more connected neighborhoods. When we invest in libraries, we invest in the future of Sioux City. I urge the council to reconsider any major reductions on budget cuts in general towards library funding, and I hope the city continues to support a service that clearly delivers tremendous value to our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Linda, I'm going to
Yeah.
answer him before we have you start, so if you want to have a seat, this is going to take just a minute.
How about I just stand here?
Well, it's going to be a bit.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. I wanted to retrace the steps and answer some of these questions, address the statements that are being made, and how we got to where we are today. And I'm so happy that the room is full, very happy to the emails that we've all gotten. I'm very happy that everybody's pulling together to fight for something that our community needs. This process started last summer when we closed out all the...
Point of order. Should the citizens be allowed to speak their piece?
No, she has, every.
I'm responding to the citizens.
I'm not disputing that, but you've got a room full of people who want to
And
say something.
they will get their chance,
Can't you
Bill.
comment at the end?
They will get their chance.
No, I'm commenting, I'm replying, I'm responding to the young man.
Okay.
Okay. So, young man, I just want to let you know how we got here, okay? Started last summer. We have a committee called the Effective Fiscal and Public Policy Committee. They work at the will of council for projects from anything to renaming streets, to helping with billboards, with helping with number of car lots, all kinds of things like that. We were tasked with looking at departmental budgets earlier than later to find out, is there low-lying fruit? Is there things that look simple that we can help to reduce budget? Because we knew through legislators we're going to have a really tough budget and need to cut. So they looked at all budgets. When it got to the library's got a very large budget of nearly $4 million, as you stated. Now, the $4 million, almost all of that comes from taxpayer dollars. So when your parents pay property taxes, that's where that money goes. Part of it goes in.
Here.
Yes, you're right. Goes to the library. That's what funds it. It doesn't come from, a small amount of it comes from their friends of the library. Our assistant city manager and our city manager and the one who plays or has the finance director, plays both, met with the library, with Helen, and let her know that the fiscal team thought that perhaps there was a way to save some money on the library budget. Their answer to doing that was to perhaps have a smaller footprint in our downtown library and keep the Morningside Library, and then add 2 more smaller neighborhood libraries for better access for the city, right? That was communicated to the executive director of the library, and it was not accepted at that time. The city managers asked Ms. Rigdon to put together a model as if she was tasked to do this, what would it look like? How would you operate with 4 branches instead of 2? The proposal that was given to them was, how about one that's over on the west side that's maybe closer to the school there? How about one down in the Floyd corridor to service Leeds in the new neighborhood that's starting Lieber Heights on Outer Drive? The Morningside branch, because I don't know how many of you know, and I'm sure, young man, you don't know, the Morningside branch, out of that 3.9, almost $4 million, operates for $450,000. And the Morningside branch is awesome. Does everybody agree the Morningside branch is great? We never once, not the finance director, not the city manager, not the assistant city manager, not this committee, did we ever suggest that we would close this downtown branch and not have one, that we would close the Morningside branch and not have one. We proposed modeling the Morningside branch, adding more programming, but diversifying it out into the city so more people had access and have a smaller footprint than the Wilbur Alf's library that is very oversized. It's taking most of the budget, and we asked for Helen to write the model and to utilize her committee. We offered our services to help. Our finance director gave her a brief. Here's what maybe 4 branches would look like. Maybe you could look at something like this, but made it very clear. This is not what we're telling you it has to look like, but we would like you to take the initiative and give us a test model. What would this look like? Again, not once in our committee, I'm on that committee, so I know, was it ever said, we're laying people off, we're firing people, we're taking away a branch. Not once. That was done, the first meeting was September the 12th of 2025. They asked for another meeting, and they sent emails on the 17th clarifying. Please don't misunderstand. Our finance director sent an email and wanted to follow up on comments that were made with the group. The sample model I provided you was just a very basic plan provided by AI. It was not intended to be used as a final plan for you at all. When we met, Mike and I asked you to reach out to other cities to try to create a model that could be presented to council. If there's a appetite to lower budgets because of legislators that's going on. And I think I brought this up at budget time as well. There seemed to be a misunderstanding as to what the direction was. No action was taken by the library board or by the director to even consider writing a model that would offer 4 libraries. And we really wanted to see, what if we shrunk the budget here, found a smaller footprint, kept it downtown? Yes, the Wilbur Alps has history, but it can still be called the Wilbur Alps Library, but it doesn't have to be in the building that costs us how many millions of dollars to operate when we can operate in a smaller, more efficient one. They were offered, copy that $450,000 budget that Morningside operates on. You do that times 4. What do we have? $1.6 million. We say, well, throw another $800,000 on there for your administrative services. The downtown one's probably going to cost you more to operate. No action was taken. None was taken. That's how we got to where we're at today. We've made no threats. We have emails and testimonies from the committee that had the discussions that can tell you guys that never happened. And I took an oath when I took this office, and I would never misrepresent myself or the city. It just got blown out of proportion. I've heard things on the news that said, oh, if we cut this $2 million, we're going to have to close branches. Well, we would never cut $2 million out of a budget in 1 year. I proposed the $1 million to see if I could get them to write a model, because if they would write that model, they would see that it would save the taxpayers the money, and we'd have 4 branches that is more accessible to people all over the city. We've got kids on the west side. I just spent 2 hours with the Morningside Mavericks last week, 8th graders, who want a place that they can have that's not a tilt, it's not skating, it's not someplace that costs them a bunch of money. That they.
3 minutes.
Bill, if you want to run the meeting, then you should run for office. I'm sorry, but the council doesn't have the time limit.
And I just implore everyone to please listen to the information I'm giving you. This started last September. No action was taken by the library board or by Helen Rigdon to even consider looking at another model that would act just as good in 4 different areas in the city. Who wouldn't want a neighborhood library near them? Is there anyone in this room that doesn't think 4 libraries would be awesome? I think it would be wonderful to have a library on the west side. Get the one out of Perry Creek. Helen offered to close the Perry Creek last year on her own without being asked to cut budget. We still have it. So if we close the one that's far north and it's hidden up in that medical plaza, brought it over here to the west side where it's more visible, That's what our thought was, but we wanted them to model it, not us. Because here's what happens. When their budget comes before city council during operating budget time, once we approve that budget, city council has no say-so where that money goes. It's free for them to use it as they please and as they see fit. And I don't know if many people know that. We don't control the operating budget at all. We just supply the money. And we have to tax the taxpayers for that money. It comes directly from property taxes, no other place. Now, the law says it's a public library, so you have to contribute. And I can't remember the formula, Teresa. It's a percentage of?
Very small proportion of
I know how much
the
it
levy. It's it's 0.0675%
of our levy, which we're bound by law.
Correct.
To contribute about $275,000 to the library a year. And we're contributing $3.7 million a year. So we're not defunding the library. This has been, I don't know what, it's some kind of a propaganda, a misunderstanding. I don't know how it got to this, but I stayed off social media. I didn't give interviews because I want to give one statement to our concerned citizen, this young man right here who loves the library. We've never asked for one branch to be closed. We've asked for 2 more to be added. We've got members of our fiscal responsibility or public policy that have written. You guys are free to read these emails that say, this is what we're doing, this is what we suggested. We've never downgraded the library once in our meetings. One of them went as far as to model what the 4 would look like for the library, put a packet together for them. I'm sure the Leeds people would love to have a library on that end of town and not have to drive downtown. There have been accusations that we're closing it because we want to get rid of the Alf's name, because we don't like homeless people, because Helen's retiring. I mean, that we don't care. Of course we care. But we need to find a better way that's more fiscally responsible to do it, and we believe that a 4-branch model will do that.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Linda Santi, Sioux City.
Hi, Linda.
I've saved probably, to your point, I've saved probably 3,000, I think is what my little slip says, from using library services. So that's my bias, I guess. I want to speak about the downtown branch. When First Federal built that building, they built it, as I'm sure many or most of us remember, they built it in a structurally reinforced way to allow for stories to go up. I don't remember if it was an additional 6 stories, 8, or 10 stories, but the building is structurally sound in such a way that you can build up from
Go
it.
to a skyscraper.
Instead, well, if you call 12-story buildings skyscrapers, sure.
City, I do.
That would be.
It's a perfect building, consequently, for books. Books are very heavy. And when the library went into that site, it was lauded at the time as this is almost magical in the way in which we can take this building with this footprint, and it is structurally sound enough to house the number of volumes that a main branch of a library, not 3 other branches under the model that, if I'm hearing, you're saying 4 branches, but there's always a main branch. That's best practice for.
Which we offered an extra $800,000 to that main branch, besides the $450,000 that the rest of them would get, to continue to have a main branch presence downtown.
I think you're talking about under one of the proposals, there'd be 4 buildings. One of those buildings needs to be a main library. Main libraries, under library practices, I worked at the New Orleans Public Library, in fact, after the federal floods of '05 when we rebuilt, and I personally can attest to the way in which those libraries were so fundamental to the rebuilding of one of America's remarkable cities. But so that's where I'm coming from when I say best practices are you have to have a main library.
Yes.
Main libraries have a lot of books. And whether an AI generated study says, well, we'll have these 4 sites, one of them has to be main, one of them has to have a lot of books, and what I'm suggesting is the best place for a main library for Sioux City is where that building is right now. It was built in a way that I'd like a bigger main library, but I don't think I'm going to get a bigger main library. So I think I'm going to be satisfied with the library I have and the community meetings that happen there and the rooms where individualized study teams can get together and the interlibrary loans can be administered out of, and the wonderful programming can happen emanating from there. And it goes out to the various branches. But I want one shining main library downtown, and it would be great to have multiple libraries in every neighborhood, but I don't know that we can afford multiple libraries in every neighborhood.
And if we shrink the footprint of the main library, it can stay the main library. It just can't be as big as it is and operate on such a large budget. That's the idea. And the AI that somebody keeps talking about in the community isn't just some sketchy AI. It was like, here's a little outline to help get you started. It wasn't a program written that we expected anyone to say, oh, here you go, follow this, generic AI. It was just to help them say, well, this is kind of what we were thinking. But again, we asked Helen to put a model together. If you were tasked to do it, what would it look like for you? How could you make this work? And that never happened.
I think it's appropriate as we're trying to get a new librarian, a new city librarian, that person knows that the council and the city is behind the concept of libraries, the concept of main libraries, and I think it's appropriate for an incoming head librarian to understand that there's challenges to be looked at and to make appropriate, it's for his or her vision moving forward, not someone who's leaving next month.
Well, Helen wasn't leaving back in September. We only found out at their joint meeting, council meeting this year, that she was leaving. So we didn't know anything about that last year when this conversation started.
And where we are right now is that she is leaving, and so I would ask that we do what we can to get the best head librarian we can for this city, for this community. To do that, I think it would probably be pretty nice if the front page wasn't always full and the letters to the editor and everything else with the libraries under attack. And I respectfully, I understand what you're saying, that it's not. You're looking at another model, but I think modeling is something that the library board and a new head librarian needs to be looking at. I believe that the main library downtown is the linchpin to the library system. It is an appropriate building for the services that need to hub out from that site. And I ask you all to save the main library downtown because it is remarkably and particularly suited to hold books, which is one of the main things that libraries do. Thank you.
Thanks, Linda.
Sorry, I'm a little nervous. Hello, my name is Brandy Steck. Thank you once for putting a little more context. A lot of that information was unknown, so I appreciate putting more context to the story about defunding the libraries. I actually live in Leeds. I don't mind driving downtown. I appreciate having a centralized main library where people from different neighborhoods can come together and we can really build community. My son is here, Didion. He is named after Joan Didion. He just turned 11. We go to the library often. Joan Didion is an author. You should look her up. She's my favorite, which is why my son is named Didion. But I'm going to speak a little beyond just books. I have 2 children, this being one of them. And my husband had some pretty intense health issues when my children were young. I had a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old. Born and raised here in Sioux City, ran screaming after graduation, was never coming back. Well, you know, look what happened. I came back and I'm here and I'm proud to be here. But when I returned with 2 young children and my husband having health complications, I didn't really have a community because I had been away for so long. And the library really supported me and built a community for me with events that they had. I was able to take my kids to events and let them go and play and hang out with other parents and have a moment of relief. I was getting no sleep because the kids weren't sleeping, they were young, they were cranky, you know, all the things that come with young kids. But outside of books, it also builds a community, and I think that's really important to think about when we think about a main hub where community can all come together, where the west side, the north side, the east side can all come together and we can be one big community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's take a couple more, but, so if you want to speak, because we're going to do a show of hands here real fast, okay?
I appreciate your clarification regarding the library issue. There has been a lot of people upset by understanding that the library is going to be...
I'm sorry.
Oh, Mary Nissen.
Thank you.
I've been in Sioux City for a number of years, since 2005, and one of the first things I did when I moved here was come down to the library. I mean, I'm a medical provider. I have a clinic in another town. First thing I did when I went to open my clinic was go to the library, get a library card there. So libraries are, I think, vital to thriving communities. I think that the information that the library budget was going to be cut in half with closure of branches, and it just struck a nerve with a lot of people. The library is a beloved place for people with a lot of childhood memories for almost everybody, no matter if you grew up in Sioux City or any of the towns in Iowa. Living in rural Iowa, it is hard to find entertainment sometimes, and for a kid on a summer day or a winter day to go to the library and spend some magic hours there is important. It's important to all of us that we have a viable library. So with the information that you guys have given us today, I do have a question. With the passage of the budget, what is going to be cut from the, it sounds like...
There's no passage of any budget.
No, we haven't decided yet.
The budget has not been finalized. The budget won't be finalized until...
March 28th.
We have wrap-up a week from Wednesday.
March 18th from 8:30 to noon is the wrap-up hearing, and that's when they'll come back and discuss any of the items that they had suggestions on, and then the budget will be approved after that time.
Same day?
No, not that same day. We have to set a hearing, and then once we set a hearing, it will be the last week of, last Monday of April that the budget will be adopted.
So do you as city council members, do we have an idea of what the proposed budget for the library is then?
It was proposed that they cut 25% the first year.
So we had 3 proposals on the floor. One was to cut $300,000, one was to cut 25%, and the other was to cut $1 million. Those were the 3
That's what I thought, because it
proposals
was
that
kind
were
of
on the
confusing,
floor.
because there's so much
Right. But
going
if-
around,
if
so much
the-
information that's not true.
Right. There was a lot that was not true. Again, no one proposed closing, eliminating. Let's look at a right-sized library that more people could get to. When I went to talk to the 8th graders, they would love to have a library on their side of town that they can meet and
I
hang
understand
out.
that. I want to know where the right size came from. Was there
Well, we want Helen to come up with the right size, but she won't do it. That's just it.
You guys had said, that you've sat here and said that
Wait a
the
minute.
library needs to be smaller, so I'm trying to figure out where that information came
Let
from.
me clarify something, and I don't know where I'm even at on the whole issue. Number one, I got criticized because I asked them to look at a 10% cut. I did that to police and fire. Nobody was here last year when I did that.
Right.
And they came up with no changes whatsoever. They couldn't even cut their big pen budget by 50 cents. But anyway, that's beside the point. I've done that before in the past. I don't understand why in this day and age you still do microfilm. Those kind of things have to be looked at in any modern organization. That's not asking too much. We got rid of microfilm in this building 15 years ago, probably. It's time that technology in city government becomes a forefront, long-term. Everybody has a different opinion about what this should be. And I'm not going to comment today where I'm going to be on the budget. I'm not in the camp that probably will cut as much as the finance and others here would like it to be cut. But certainly there are some things that should be changed, in my opinion, not with just this department, with a lot of our departments. Now, we can sit here and just pass budgets and never ask for any cuts, and then your taxes go up, and guess what? We get criticized for that too. Taxes are going to go down this year. There's been at least, I mean, I'm counting, there's been 3 people that really haven't commented on, I mean, Mr. Bertrand and Julie were of the camp. I understand where they're coming from, but I have not heard from Craig or Ike to even weigh in on it. So there's nothing has been decided. And contrary to what people think, we don't get together and talk about this stuff. It's number one, it's against the law. Number two, everybody should come to their own conclusion, in my opinion. So that's the way I've always operated. I don't have an opinion today. I appreciate input, always have, and I'll continue to listen. I'm not of a camp yet. I do think the one in, I said last year, I think the one in Marketplace is a terrible library. It's not what it could be. It needs to be more visible like it was before in Gleason's building down by the Hy-Vee gas station. At least people could find it and drive up to it, not have to look through 10 buildings to figure out which one it is. But anyway, I don't know that anybody has an answer for you today, just being perfectly honest.
So if no plan is proposed back from the library?
They did submit something today.
Here that day.
Okay.
They did submit material today. We've not.
I'm just needing clarification. I just think there's so much information that has been misconstrued or not given out that, like, if a budget is passed, bam, $2 million is going to be cut from the library. So
That's not what's happening.
we need to clarify that. But also, what is actually going to happen? Because what if this proposed plan from the library, do you guys have to accept it? Do you fully fund the library then how?
We don't have to accept it because we set the budget, how much we release, and they get to spend it on what they want. It's not about controlling. I saw someone put online, they're just trying to control what books they buy. It's nothing to do with that. It's for libraries, more accessibility. The programming can still be done at the main branch, but you split it into 4.
And do you propose that the building is different than the current building?
Yes. It has to be, because that one is taking all of the budget. It's taking so much money to operate. So we're saying a smaller footprint, similar to the one in Morningside. So that's why we went to Helen and we said.
What's the time frame? Like, you're proposing to move the.
2 years we
move
gave.
the library and then open library branches.
2 years to phase into it. 1 year for the first 25% cut, the next year for the next 25% cut.
Is that information open to the public? Do we?
That's, again,
Again,
every council member has an opinion. I'm not going to say that I share that opinion.
I just think,
That's why you need to come March 18th, because that's when it's going to be
and that's what
decided.
was proposed to Helen, to build a model
whatever.
around that, and say, well, this is how we would make it work if we did this.
The mayor's right. It is March 18th, but I did want to open for everybody. You can go to the city's website and look at the YouTube. We do broadcast all of our budget hearings, and you would be able to listen to that operating budget hearing to give some clarification too.
Okay. It would be nice to have all of the information out to the public.
Yes, I agree.
And then.
I agree. But it just blew up into this misinformation that we're chopping the budget, we're defunding the library, we're cutting it $2 million this year. None of that is true. The last thing I saw was we're going to have to close Morningside and Perry Creek. None of that has to be closed. None of it. We're proposing to save taxpayer dollars, still have 4 libraries that reach more people, like the mayor said, we have to realize that microfiche is no longer a thing but for a few people a year. Maybe that gets moved over to the museum and somebody calls and says, hey, I want a journal ad from 1923. So you get it over there. We just can't keep doing everything that we've always done and always remain fiscally responsible. If we can cut $1.5 million out of this budget and still have 4 awesome library branches, I just can't find anything wrong with that. It's going to be slightly different, but it's still going to be here. We're not asking to take away programming. We're asking to somebody design the program in the main branch, great. Have 1/4 of it there and have 3 more of it around the city.
$1.5 million seems like a big step.
It does, but that's the
seems like
end.
a
That's
big
the
step.
end step. That's the end step. That's what we hope to get to. But that money is taxed from taxpayer dollars on property taxes, and that's how we're hoping to.
I pay my property taxes. I'm happy.
I know you do.
I'm happy
do
to
too.
pay taxes for my local library.
And you'll still continue to
That-
pay them. You'll just pay less towards the library if we can get a little bit different model that still offers the same services.
I understand that.
I'm gonna have
I
to
just
ask-
want you to
I'm
know
gonna
that
have to get-
I do.
concern,
And I
the
appreciate
concern that's
that.
out there.
I appreciate
because-
that. I read them and I saw it. I appreciate that. I'm just trying to get the facts out.
It'd be nice to see a solid plan of these branches, how it's going to impact the communities, what the traffic is going to be, a study done. It'd be really nice to see some of that stuff before we just say, boom, $1.5 million.
But we did try that. We've been working on this since
that-
last September.
you know,
Yes, we have.
I
We-
understand the
Let me
frustration.
just explain this to you
but-
guys, because it's the only entity in the city that you can't tell them what to do. Their board is protected by state law. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying it's not as simple as what you would like us to be able to do.
I don't
because-
think, I
because
don't
state
believe
law-
it's probably simple at all.
No,
I-
I'm saying because state law doesn't allow. Also, our only authority with the library is to give them the money. That's, I mean, that's it, that's reality. So it's not like we can take them a plan that they have to accept or not accept.
I thank you guys for your time, and I
Thank
know this
you.
is difficult.
Thank you, Mary.
I'm
Thank
board
you.
chair for a nonprofit, and we do this budget stuff all the time.
Yep.
I just seek clarity and just a little bit of understanding that the public who loves the library would really like to know what the plans are and see a little step back before it's just automatically we hear $1.5 million to $2 million.
Again,
It's
Mary,
just shocking.
the specific words were, we're trying to get ahead of budget season. This is why we started last year early. We're trying to get ahead of it. So let's start working on this now so we could get it out to the public. But that was for Helen and her committee to form this possible, what would it look like if our budget was reduced by this much? And they refused to do it. I'm sorry. We just didn't get it.
I thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Mary. Terry, as you're coming up, let me just very quickly say, I think unfortunately, a large part of what's happened over the last 10 days has taken on a life of its own. Some fact, some fiction. You know, when Julie and Rick had made their comments, it was really to create some thought-provoking opportunities. As Julie's mentioned, there were a number of reach-outs, even preceding Ike and Rick and me coming to the council, that were made of Helen and the board. I think it's fair to say that nobody on this council wants to make drastic changes that are going to affect the true library services. I, for one, I'm a supporter of the downtown library. My wife uses the downtown library 3 times a week, and so I'm very supportive. The Alfs family that donated, or that bought that property, donated it to the city, is very committed to this community, and I would find it very difficult to approach Jack Alfs, who is a friend of mine, and share with him that we're trying to make adjustments. Excuse me, that we're trying to relocate. That doesn't mean that it doesn't create an opportunity for us to visit with the library board, visit with city staff, work with Teresa, and get a better idea of how we can fully and adequately provide library services. I, for one, I know Bob was asking or was stating earlier that Ike and I hadn't shared our thoughts, and again, we want to get everybody else's thoughts and we want to put everything together. I, for one, believe that it is necessary to wait till the new library director is in place, and when he or she gets here, have this discussion with them and get a better sense of their perspective of what libraries need. But as I shared with Helen both during the campaign and after I got elected, I want to see her vision for what libraries need to look like in 2026 and beyond. And that's what Julie and Rick were trying to promote in the dialogue. And unfortunately, it really did start taking on a life of its own. I think we want to get our arms back around it so that on a week from Wednesday, we can have a healthy dialogue and get to the right place. Terry, go ahead.
Thanks, Greg. I'm Terry O'Brien, born and raised in Sioux City, gone for several years, but I'm back now. And I raised my kids here. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mayor Scott, but didn't we have this discussion 5 or 6 years ago, and didn't the study come back and say it wasn't fiscally sound to move the library? Because we own it, we own the building, and we don't have to pay for any of it. And any money that we would have to use to improve it anyway could be TIF money. It wouldn't have to be taxpayer money. We had this discussion 5 or 6 years
I'm
ago.
somewhat older than you, so my memory, all that, but.
Teresa Fitch, Finance Director. We do not fund the library with any TIF funds.
I know you don't, but you could. I didn't say you don't, or you do.
It's all general
I said
fund
you
right
could.
now.
Yeah, you can. I checked.
Only, not operations.
Not operations. I didn't say that. I said any improvements. You guys got to listen to what I'm saying.
Well, I'm
because
saying
that's what
that
I
we-
said.
But that's what this budget is.
Anyway, go ahead.
All right. So we already did this, and it wasn't fiscally sound because we own the library. We own the building. You don't have to go rent something. So I called Sioux Falls today, talked to their head librarian. They have 5 libraries, 13 if you count the surrounding counties. They, however, have something with the county where Minnehaha County also helps fund it. I don't think we have that. But they have 5 libraries. I asked them if they rent. She said, heavens no. I would never rely. I couldn't do my budget if I had to rely on landlords. She said, we own all the buildings. So the one that we own, we don't have to pay anything for it. If there's any improvements, TIF money can improve it. So the only thing that you guys got to do is fund operations, is exactly what you just said. But that wasn't fiscally sound. If you've got to go and rent a building or 4 buildings, if you've got to go rent 4 buildings, come back and tell us what the cost of that's going to be, because it's not going to be sound. We've already done this. 5 or 6 years ago, we did this whole thing. And the downtown location seems to be a great location. There's a bus service. People can go down there that are looking for jobs. It's a great location. It's a great building. It's right across from the Orpheum. So if people come into town, they see that we have a library. You know, people don't want to come here. We're the #1 cancer place. We're the #1 asthma place. Our schools are falling apart, and now we're going to get rid of our library. That's not a good idea. And I know you said we're not getting rid of it, but at least it's downtown and everybody can see it.
But now you just repeated that we're getting rid of a library.
No, I said, I know you said you're not getting rid of it. You couldn't hear over the clapping. I probably the problem.
I'm going to start letting
But
talk,
apparently
'cause
there
we're
are
gonna start
people that
doing
agree
3
with me in
minutes
the
here, and
room.
We're going to cut it off with we're going to go to the lady in the purple. I have that right to do. I know Mr. Burrows will disagree, so wrap it up, please, and we'll get the last 2 here. And then we're going to do a raise a hand.
I reclaim that time. So I guess what I'm saying is we own the building. It's crazy to move it, and it's a nice building, and we have something that people that come into town can see, because it's right across from the Orpheum. I don't know why we'd rent, but I would really like to know where you're going to rent and how much it's going to cost and who we're going to be beholding to when we rent the buildings. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Terry.
That's fine.
Hi, I am J.J. Stone. I have lived here many, many years. I am say thank you, Traumatic Brain Injury Day. I am a traumatic brain injury survivor, and I am also an epileptic. The first thing I am going to do is I'm going to tell everybody I'm sorry. The topic I am going to bring up is about nonprofit organizations owning buildings. It's great that they're doing that, but the reason I'm bringing this up, I live in a non-profited, supposedly non-profited organization's apartment complex, Pheasant Acres Independent Village. They have about 5 or 6 buildings. Most of the people living in that are of disability. But like myself, I've even been talking with organizations. The rule that I am not able to get for a second year is my rent reimbursement being on SSDI. And the only reason I'm not getting it, and I have shared papers with many, many people and sent emails, the only reason I'm getting denied rent reimbursement is the rule nonprofit organization owned. And there's several of us with SSDI, SSI, elderly. We can't even get the rent reimbursement because of that one rule. And it's great a nonprofit organization wants to make an apartment complex for people with disability, but a rent reimbursement can reach up to about $3,000 to a person on SSDI and Social Security. So that's why I am here. I've been talking with Woodbury County, the courthouse, everybody is saying the organization that manages it is Selden, but even Selden says the Goodwill owns it. The Goodwill says, no, they don't. So here I am. I don't know how much time I'm going to have left or other people living in these facilities. We can try to get our rent reimbursement before it's gone. And again, this is the second year after having to lose jobs to keep benefits statewide, and the rent reimbursement is a statewide benefit. I know everybody just probably thinks it's a no big deal, but when you're able to get your SSDI or Social Security back and then pay your bills back again with the same thing, kind of doing a rollout, I still feel like a butthead for saying this, but I just wanted to bring this to your guys' attention that several people are losing their rent reimbursement because those facilities that are disability oriented
Are nonprofits.
are nonprofit.
So JJ, I'm curious, Marty Doherty is here. He helps oversee our housing activities. I don't see Jill here today, but maybe that's something that Marty or Jill could help look into for you and see if there's a mechanism.
And it's not just for myself.
Right. No, I don't mean just in terms of your situation, but maybe Marty can work with Jill and they can get your name, if you can get that to Heidi.
Because that was the other thing too, is working with Iowa Disability Resource, HHS directly. Everybody is just saying it's because of that rule.
It seems odd that we can't trace it back to see who actually owns that property.
And that's what I did too by going to.
I did go online after you sent me that email.
Yeah. And I actually have some
Didn't say
copies
Goodwill
from
Industries.
the state treasurer. I have those papers and I think they might be in that attachment. They're verifying Goodwill. The city Woodbury County is verifying Independence Village, but has a North Carolina address.
Yes.
And the other three are Selden, verified addresses. But everyone else is just saying because it says Independence Village, it's Goodwill.
Marty, you want to meet with him and get his number and that? Why don't you meet with Marty?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Ben Bemis. I'm a resident of Sioux City. Full disclosure, I also work for the Sioux City Library. I'm not here on their behalf or anything. They'll probably be talking to you tomorrow about me coming here. But I think it's important for everyone to have the same information too, with accurate information. So I just wanted to give off some information first from the proposed budget, because we talk about. You were saying how we don't want to cut staffing, we don't want to cut programs, we want to add stuff, but it's literally impossible for you to do that while cutting $1 million out of the budget. Like, out of our operating budget, the proposed budget for 2027, 3.03 million of that is compensation. You cannot get rid of, you cannot propose these cuts without cutting staff and without staff, we have less programming. With less programming, so the cuts would be hugely devastating, more than I think some people might realize. And I do appreciate all the people that are here today and realize the how much of an impact it would be. But when we look at the Morningside operating budget, the reason it's so much less is because it doesn't have as much of, like it only represents like 3.43 FTEs. There's more than that working out there in the week. Plus all of like a lot of the budget or supplies and stuff comes from downtown. The office management, like all that requires the downtown location. Like there are so many things that it's able to have a low price because the downtown library has so much resources and is able to act as the main hub for the locations. So that's why that budget is so low. Like if we move to 4 small locations or a smaller main and 3 branches, we wouldn't be able to operate without drastically changing a lot of that stuff. I'm trying to be conscious of my time. Also, in regards to the question about modernizing the library, which I believe was talked about quite a bit, I don't know what you are thinking of when you think modernizing the library. We're constantly modernizing. We have, as ebooks became more popular, we got ebooks, we have movie streaming, music streaming, we have...
I need you to wrap it up.
Okay. So I just want to say, the library is very important for this community, and the cuts that you're proposing will make it not the library anymore. It won't be, it can't serve the community at that amount. Thank you.
When I get to, again, listen, we know you're all here for a reason. We're repeating the same argument. I hope you can all agree with that. And when we have these meetings, we do a show of hands after we have as many people speak as we have had speak. Everybody just repeating the same thing. I think, well, what do you?
I have a point. I have a point about the collections.
What?
I have a point about the collections, and you're saying that microfilm and microfiche are not important.
We're saying that they could be at another site, is what I
No, I'm a
said.
historian, and all kinds of things are not on microfilm. And in fact, there's a novel about Sioux City written in 1940.
Stop.
Okay.
Well, you're going to
Fine,
get
thank
3
you.
minutes and.
Yeah,
go.
okay. I'm Bob Fritzmeyer. I live here in Sioux City, and I know this has not been a very fun discussion here. And I want to just say that I had the opportunity to go to a library event with my grandkids, my 2 grandkids, and there was a musician who came here from Wisconsin, and his name was Duke Otherwise. And he played the guitar, and he sang songs, but he didn't just perform. He really got the kids involved, all of us involved. I mean, let the kids, you know, plug in some words for the songs. And then later on, my kids, of course, wanted to play some of his music in the car. And so one of those songs was about bananas. And they played it over and over again. And, you know, bananas are hunky-dory lunch, and the monkeys like to grab a bunch. And, you know, this has enriched my kids' life, enriched my life. And so the library, I like the point that the library is a lot more than just the books. I like some of the good points that many of you made up here, and that it's a community building, and I pay my taxes. Most of the people here pay taxes, and we want them to go for, you know, the community building and the spirit of bringing people together. And I hope and trust that you're going to fund the library as fully as possible.
Thanks, Bob.
And I will make this brief. My name is Teresa Becker, and like I say, I'm a professionally trained historian, and I assure you that if you want to look at a Life magazine from 1935, you got to look at it on microfilm.
Listen, alls I said was that technology should be looked at.
Well,
We got rid of microfilm in this building in the clerk's office.
Well, let me
years
mention
ago.
how about the collections? I was going to mention, to Linda's point of keeping books is important. When I grew up here, moved away, was never going to come back, and here I am, and I'm happy I'm here. But when I came back here, I wanted to look up things about Sioux City. So I found out there was a novel written about Sioux City from 1940. And I read that novel, and it's not online. But you know where I got it? A hard copy at the downtown branch. So that's all I wanted to say.
That has to go away, ma'am.
Well, if you cut the size of the library, I assume that they're going to start dumping books from 1940.
I wouldn't assume that.
Well, I guess I know how libraries work, and I see a used bookstore sale every year that they dump books. So I guess old books are where they start.
Well, the library made the decision to get rid of those
Well,
books.
I'm just saying, if they don't have the space, they're going to be pushed into that decision. So thank you for your time.
City Councilors, my name is Charles Wishman. I serve as president of the Iowa Federation of Labor, AFL-CIO. Senator, it's been a while. Good to see it. It resembles a subcommittee. So, first of all, just wanted to say, I get that there is a complex budget situation going on here. By the way, I do not live in Sioux City. We are a statewide organization, and when I heard about this yesterday, I decided that it's worth making a 6-hour round trip to come here. Not that I didn't have another meeting or two I could fit in, but that it's important to come here and talk to you about this. And I understand a little bit more, maybe I'm more confused as to when I'm walking in the door here. But when you talk about cutting budgets for libraries, it's not a good look. It's not a good look for Iowa. It's not a good look for Sioux City. But even at that, I'm not sure how, again, you're doing addition by subtraction and when you're talking about cutting budgets, unless you're going to talk about cutting employees. And so I'd like, my plea to you is for everyone in this room, as well as yourselves, please work with the union, work with management, make sure that we can, that Sioux City, and not just here, I mean, there's nothing that brings out a room full of people, whether it's here in Marshalltown or anywhere I go, is when you start talking about cutting the library, because people love it. And so it's not just that, they love their librarians too. So again, please do this without, whatever budget you go ahead with, whatever proposal of the three that I heard, make sure that you try and do this without cutting staff, without cutting personnel, because again, people love their librarians. My last point that I'd just like to make is that, so I do sit on the Iowa Workforce Development Board, not speaking for them or speaking for the department or anything like that. However, as we and Iowa Workforce Development moves more and more to online services, and even it's more and more and more every year. I'm not necessarily saying that's wrong, but the ability for people to be able to have access to those services, we don't want to see them downgraded, whether it's looking for a new job, whether it's filing unemployment, or whatever it is. I think that many of us take it for granted that everyone has internet access, and that's just not the case. So thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. Good to see you again, Senator.
Charles.
The rules call for me to, I'm William Burrows. Rules call to spell my name. Will that be recorded? Okay.
No.
All right. So as Terry was saying about Sioux Falls, I was up in Sioux Falls at the VA hospital today too. And I didn't get a checkup from the neck up, is that what you're thinking? But I stopped by the library and I could echo what Terry is saying. They're like, what the heck is going on down there in Sioux City? Something about AI, is that artificial intelligence, or is that anti-intellectual, or what are you guys doing down there? I said, you got me, but we got a meeting today to talk about it. So this is a little bit what the venerable John Lewis used to say, good trouble, right? Okay. So obviously I'm against any cuts to the budget. I pay my taxes and I like what we get. Exceptional service, exceptional. But I would like to take a minute to talk about inconsistency. One of the criticisms of the library was that they were procrastinating or dragging their feet or whatever. And I'm like, come on. That's like calling the kettle black. You know why? Because it's been a year since you've been trying to hire a city manager. And we still don't have a city manager.
We stopped trying. We took a break.
May I finish my talks?
Yep.
You're constantly interrupting the people.
Claim your time.
Anyway, so that's one thing. The second thing is, we just spent $3 million. $3 million. And nobody batted an eye. And now you want to bludgeon the library because of that? We need to give the library more money because since COVID, they have been caretaking people who are homeless and disenfranchised. When they should have been sending them over to City Hall and all that big foyer that we got here. You know, that's crazy. So I'm just going to sum up because Bob's going to cut me off anyway, which is fine. I play by the rules. But I want you to turn around and look at that flag, that Iowa flag. It says, our liberties prize and our rights we will maintain. And our theme song should be Tom Petty's song, We Won't Back Down. Thank you.
Oh, I'm not going to sit up here and opine on what everything else. Oh, Brett Watchorn, back again, as usual. I'm not going to opine. I will go ahead and lead with, I don't remember there being a 3-minute time limit on the First Amendment, but that happens, I guess. As for, I will try to dissuade the public that's here about the library, because I've actually sat through all these budget meetings, and I think the best thing to do to dissuade the ideas and what people have gotten is to understand that the news is very misleading, especially on this exact subject. Every article I read was the cuts were coming, the cuts were going to happen. So that is, just know that out there in the public. But I think a good way to dissuade anybody else's ideals there would be what other departments or places are going to have been proposed this 25% cut? Or is it just the library?
Library.
Huh, interesting.
No, but wait a minute.
No. We went through every department.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did, but you still fully fund the city manager department even though we don't have one.
Time out for a minute. I'll add your time. The budget, as in that book, is not cut. It was proposals which any council member can make. The budget is not cut in that budget book. There's a big difference.
Right.
Go ahead.
But that's why I asked about proposals, Bob. What were the other departments proposed to get a 25% cut or any percentage cut? And Rick, you said you guys went through every line, so what other departments?
Come up with the 18th, you'll see the whole budget. You've been at all the meetings.
Oh, I know. I listened.
All the discussion.
I listened.
The library has not been any individual, just other discussion is all this is.
I agree. Yes, I do. I do. And that's why I'm asking you guys to dissuade the public, because if you're going to want to cut 25% from the library, there's plenty of other departments. That's my only thing, I guess. Try to dissuade, but if I've enlightened, that's fine too. Have a nice day, y'all.
Thanks, Brett.
We're done with library.
Oh, he's on the committee.
Okay.
Citizen concern.
All right.
Andrew Lostwold. I am one of the people on the Effective Fiscal and Public Policy Committee. I'm also the one that Julie referenced that wrote the 15-page community library model. I also sent in this. Feel free to distribute it to whoever would like it. I'll just give you some of the information on what our committee has discussed. This is something I wrote, not the committee. Sioux City's library system has served our community for decades, but the structure we're relying on today reflects service patterns and facilities designed more than 50 years ago. While it's continued to provide valuable services, the current model concentrates the majority of its resources in a single facility, while large portions of the city remains underserved due to limited neighborhood access. Today, the Sioux City Public Library operates with an annual budget of approximately $3.8 million. The largest share of that budget is over $2 million of that goes to the downtown location alone. When we examine the cost relative to hours of service, the financial concentration becomes fairly clear. The downtown facility is operating 61 hours per week, which equates to $646 per hour to keep the facility open. By comparison, the Morningside branch is operating at $187 per hour. The current system is spending more than 3 times that to operate the downtown facility, compared to what a neighborhood-based branch model would look like. At the same time, the city's facing significant capital investments in these facilities. The downtown library requires approximately $2.4 million in HVAC and infrastructure repairs, while planned improvements to the Morningside location are estimated at $1.6 million, primarily for their parking lot. Together, these projects represent more than $400 million in near-term facility costs simply to maintain the current infrastructure. The third branch in the system, Perry Creek, illustrates another challenge. The facility is very small, offering limited hours and services, located in an area with poor visibility. Many residents in the community aren't even aware that the location exists. I know I live within 3 miles of it, and I didn't know that it existed until I got on this board. So these realities, I didn't talk during your time.
Let him talk.
These realities present an opportunity for Sioux City to think strategically about the future of the library services. Rather than concentrating the majority of resources in one large facility, a community-based library system where services are distributed across multiple neighborhood locations could better serve our distributed communities. Sioux City covers nearly 60 square miles with major population centers across the north side, west side, Morningside, and downtown. Locating community libraries within these areas would place services closer to residents who rely on them for education, technology access, and workforce development. We already have a successful example of this model in Sioux City, which is the Morningside branch. This demonstrates how the neighborhood library can provide.
I'm going to need you to wrap it up.
Sorry, yep. Yeah, the purpose of this isn't to criticize the board or the current system. It's really to expand the services by moving to a community-based library based on this budget of modeling what Morningside is doing and expanding that to a north side location and a west side location, and then still a sizable downtown location. We can distribute the services more equitably across all of the communities. You could still maintain a very large downtown facility while also saving upwards of $1 million while doing it.
All right, thank you.
So, yeah, if you'd like to distribute that, there's also a 15-page plan with pictures. Feel free to distribute it. So, yeah, distribute it as you will.
Okay. Thanks, Andrew.
If you're going to speak on the library, I am going to limit it. I'm sorry.
You can't.
Who said I can't?
Dude, it's public comment.
And we have rules that we
What's the rule? One comment, I've got 30 seconds.
go.
Okay. Hi, thank you,
But
everybody.
let me explain to you, council has rules that we go by, so go ahead.
Public comment, Bob. All right, I'll keep it down, Bob. So Corey Davis, we've heard, there's been some frustration about some misunderstanding and not, full disclosure about everything. Some of the remarks about how the library is funded, how it's so heavily funded for the downtown branch. Hopefully our next director can properly allocate how the hours and how the $600 per hour is actually distributed across those branches. It looks like the downtown branch, and people have already mentioned this, but apparently everybody didn't hear it. The downtown branch carries the burden because all the management comes out of that. We have members, and president of Local 7103, CWA, probably represent the brothers and sisters that work at the library. They'll start a shift and then go to the Morningside branch, or they'll go relieve people at Prairie Creek. you know, so that all looks like it's, on paper, it looks like it's all coming from the downtown branch, but it's not. So I just wanted to share that with everybody.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks, Corey. I actually, in respect of time, I didn't want to ask Andrew because Ben had raised that same point. And so I would like a follow-up, if we could get a summary of how the Effective Fiscal Management Committee made that analysis. Go ahead, Maria.
Thank you. We here for the same thing for the library, miscommunications, but the media, the papers, is just miscommunication about the library. So I'm going to be short. You need to balance your budget, tax the people. Yes, why not? I'm willing to pay more property taxes, but I don't want my service to be cut, and especially the library. Okay?
Any item other than the library and under citizen concerns?
Thanks, Maria.
Hi, Paul Koskovich. Sorry, I missed the discussion about the billboards. I talked to Julie about this a couple months ago. Obviously, there's nothing you can do now because you guys double passed it, but I'm asking you to kick it in gear. I mean, we got billboards that we want to do that are on our own sites that are not littered with other billboards, and now this is going to push us back another 6 months.
Well, didn't I already tell you that yours?
The one is yes, that when we sped up and beat them.
Two of them in the hopper?
What's that?
Did you have two in the hopper, or
We have
one?
several more.
No, that were started before the moratorium, right at the same time?
No, we had one in time, we got beat. And
Did
then,
you
so
put that
now we
one
have
up?
others, and I guess I was listening while I was driving here, like Chris hasn't included us at all. Like he said, he's talking to
I
seven.
gave you that information when you asked
But he said
about it.
he's been talking with other people, right? We're not included in that all. The only person I get information from is you, and that's on the phone calls, right? I mean, we're not being included, and we got other projects we want to do. So I'm just asking that, one, we're included, until we speed this process up.
Well, get yourself listed as a billboard company so they know to get you on the list.
Chris knows, right? I mean, we've filed the application, so obviously we're in it, right?
Well.
And I
don't
emailed
know
them
how
last week about our
extensive it
billboard.
is.
I'm just saying, like, we're not being included, right? That's all I'm asking.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Anyone else on a non-billboard, non-viper? We're going to go to the next agenda item, which is community engagement update.
Welcome, Ann.
Thank you.
Ann.
Ann Westra, Communication
Top time today, Ann.
and Public Engagement Specialist, yes. So thanks for your time today. I just wanted to provide an update to the memo that was provided recently regarding communications and public engagement. So today, this statement is very applicable. Obviously, we're giving out information, but we really want to get through. That communication is super important. We use many platforms to reach residents and businesses. This list represents our most commonly used platforms. And today I'd like to share some statistics from the calendar year 2025 highlighting the City of Sioux City website, social media platforms, newsletters, press releases, and emergency notifications. The city shares press releases with local media and partner organizations weekly and hosts press conferences at various facilities to feature events, services, exhibits, programs, and other updates. We have a strong relationship with our media partners, and we appreciate their willingness to share city information with their audiences. Our code red emergency notifications allow staff to deliver messages to people in targeted areas of the city or the entire city via text, email, or phone. We have used the code red platform for about 6 years, and we send emergency alerts related to snow emergencies, boil water warnings, water main breaks, transit delays, and garbage and recycling delays. The number of notifications that we send out each year fluctuates primarily due to the weather. So obviously, if we have a mild winter, we're not sending out snow emergencies and transit and garbage delays, et cetera. You'll see the number of contacts we have there is around 2,600. We do have the ability to reach 27,000 residents through a national call list. Our website is our community's front door. Yeah.
How does citizens sign up for that?
Yes, Mayor.
Are you coming to that? If you're coming to it, that's okay. I just want the citizens to know how they can do that.
Yes, right there on the slide, it says text alert Sioux City to 24639, or you can also go to sioux-city.org, our website, /alert, sioux-city.org/alerts. And you'll be asked for your name, your address, your phone number, your email address, and you have the option to sign up for your phone, your email, text. Yep, thank you. So our website, as I was saying, is our community's digital front door, providing information and services, promoting our local amenities, and engaging residents, businesses, and visitors. Our current site was last redesigned in 2017, and with new federal accessibility standards taking effect next month, April 24th, a full redesign was needed to stay compliant and improve usability. After an RFP process in late 2025, Council approved a contract with Civic Plus to develop, design, maintain, and host the new site. Currently, we have staff who are reviewing and updating their content, removing outdated content, and ensuring that everything meets accessibility guidelines. Staff are also being trained on the platform called Site Improve that identifies accessibility issues to help us stay compliant over time. Digital accessibility, we've been learning more and more about that in the last year in our new guidelines by the Department of Justice that take effect soon. It is the practice of removing barriers that prevent interaction with or access to websites, digital tools, and technologies by people with disabilities. We have an opportunity to remove barriers that have been in place for decades that we didn't know existed. And it's not just our website, it's the content within the website, such as documents and images, what we link to, and digital applications, such as our social media channels, videos, and podcasts. In a recent accessibility webinar that I attended, the speaker shared how if we would have known things were inaccessible, we wouldn't have done it this way. So now is our time and our opportunity to do better. Alignment with the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, more commonly referred to as WCAG 2.1 Level AA, allows access for everyone and enhances community trust. Small changes such as adding alternative text to images or tables, making sure that there are structured headings in a document, adding captions to videos, and using plain language, such as like an 8th grade reading level, can create a more usable experience for everyone. We know that in the United States, in the last US Census, 54 million people identified as having a disability. And that's 20% of the population, or 1 in 5 people. People with disabilities also represent $8 trillion of disposable income. So what is the city doing? We are working to update our current website to be more accessible. We're moving to a new platform later this spring, early summer. Training has been provided to 62 employees who serve as website administrators, giving them the resources to update their department web pages, as well as creating accessible documents, accessible social media posts, videos, and podcasts. Accessibility training for Microsoft Office will also be provided citywide later this month. I also want to underscore that it's very important to understand that digital scanning software is detecting around 45% of the WCAG criteria. And so manual testing is super important here, and that's where it comes to the human beings. So we may have a digital scanner, but we've got to have employees that are backing it up and reviewing. We have a 12-page full-color newsletter called City Progress. We've had that since 2005. We publish it twice a year. We no longer insert into the Sioux City Journal as we once did. We have reduced the cost of that by not including it in the Journal, by not printing as many newsletters, but we do have it online. We do print about 2,000 each time, and we provide those to small businesses, realtors, hospitals, local attractions to help with business recruitment. You'll see our Snapshot e-newsletter, picture of that there. That began in 2008 and provides bi-monthly updates about current events, programming, and services in a quick digital update. Social media has become one of our main forms of communication, with 81% of adults reporting that they use at least one social media platform daily. A full-time social media position for the city was proposed in the 2025 budget, but due to budget constraints, council instead approved $22,500 for a part-time position, contracted creator, excuse me. Following that process, we hired Kelly Ramirez, who is a local. She was hired in July 2025, and she produces regular content, primarily focused on video. So if you follow the Facebook and Instagram pages for the city, you've likely seen the content that she's putting together. In the first 6 months, this dedicated support has increased engagement, improved transparency, and strengthened the city's digital presence. We've been able to expand our storytelling, which has really resonated with our residents. At the end of the day, we want to communicate consistent information from all departments. So as budget conditions improve in the future, crossing our fingers, transitioning this role to a full-time position is recommended to better meet citywide communication, strategic planning, and public engagement needs. The way people consume information has changed. It's directly on their phone, it's through social media. Short-form video paired with clear written descriptions allows residents to absorb information quickly, accurately, and on their own time. This format also improves accessibility, shareability, and community engagement. And these trends align with our current social media strategy. We're seeing success in engaging the public and reaching new followers. This is a list of our current main Sioux City platforms and the numbers involved. You'll see a nice trend over the years in many of these platforms. This helps tell the story as to where we should invest our time as we see growth patterns in platforms such as Facebook and Nextdoor, and how X has really become stagnant. When Kelly started producing video content, we thought that we would see more engagement in Instagram. And what we actually saw is people prefer watching videos on Facebook, which has been interesting for us to watch. LinkedIn remains a platform centered on business and workforce development. We maintain a Sioux City business page that features reasons to work for the city, as well as a Sioux City group that showcases positive developments and accomplishments within the community.
And with looking at those trends, are you seeing that overall, or is there an age demographic or a difference with?
I have not pulled age demographics for each. I have done that for Facebook primarily, but I can do. Nextdoor doesn't provide those. Some of the platforms are different in how they share information, but Facebook and Instagram are the ones that do share those demographics, yes. Nextdoor, which a lot of people haven't heard of Nextdoor, but that's actually one of our largest growing platforms. It's really seen steady growth, and it's used to share more neighborhood updates. So we work with our police department to provide updates, really that's more centered on your neighborhood. You'll just see kind of the growth and engagement and click-throughs here on specific to Facebook, and how the demographics between women and men, primarily 25 to 54 is what we're seeing for Facebook users.
You don't want us old guys, huh?
This graph shows the significant increase in video or reels on the city's main Facebook page from late summer through the end of the year. That's the time frame when Kelly's been involved with us. And this shows our most popular reels and posts. You'll see that Summer Tubing saw great engagement, as well as a video where it was highlighting the move of a restored A7 Corsair Static to the Siouxland Freedom Park. Another interesting note is, although the views on Instagram were 33,147, if you would add the views from the Facebook reel of the same reel, we saw over 208,000. So again, a lot of people on Facebook really liked the reel.
Do you have those tied together, your Facebook?
We do. But if we don't want them to go, we can stop that as well. Yep. As we look ahead, our focus will be on digital accessibility practices, launching the new website, Kelly and I will be speaking about building community pride through social media at the upcoming Iowa Parks and Recreation Conference coming to Sioux City in a couple weeks, and hosting a marketing and communications intern this summer who is from Sioux City and currently a student at the University of Northern Iowa as a marketing student. And with that, I will take questions.
Mr. Mayor, may we ask questions? You got to come to the microphone.
William Burrows, and I wanted to, well, first of all, I want to say I think you're doing a great job. I particularly like the old school stuffers in the mail, in the bill, because I look at the bill right away. And then when you highlight them in different colors and stuff, that helps to accentuate that. But what I'm wondering about is multiplier effect. I'm not even sure what that means, but let's say, for example, Stacy Anderson was here recently. And I'm wondering about coordination with somebody like that. You know, the city's paying her to do some stuff. And your budget's out of the city manager's office?
Yes.
Okay. So that would be like one thing, because I think social media is the way to go. The library does a fantastic job on social media.
I agree.
They make stuff that is so interesting and so much fun. But I digress. So anyway, the point, my question was about working with some other folks to get the message out there.
Yeah. We do work with our partners, downtown partners and Explore Siouxland. I would say more on the aspect of taking photographs and sharing those photographs with different audiences. Explore Siouxland's audience is really to the visitor. And that's not to say that we aren't, but I would say we're resident focused first and then the visitor after that.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank
Dan.
you.
Okay,
And
thank you.
the videos, they perfect. I mean, they look great.
Great, thank you.
I didn't engage.
Thank you, Ann.
Good job.
Mr. Bertrand.
Keep it real short today. On a positive note, I got 3 text messages this week from developers, from builders on the permit process, all 3 of them on the residential side, and said that they were overly impressed on it coming through the system. So I reached out to Daryl and thanked him and Brian, those guys. I want to make sure they're recognizing that I know they're working hard on the processes, and we are seeing some results. And the good news is they're giving us some direct feedback on the process. So I just want to make sure that we're not, we're not beating everybody up. They're getting there. We're getting there. And then when it came to the library thing, I did appreciate everybody coming in today. I think that Julie did a great job exposing. I think that the media in this last 7-8 days has absolutely been pathetic, what they've reported. We've given good interviews, we've given good facts, and they just like to kind of stoke this fire. So that they were the loser this week, was the media during this process. Also, I think that Helen, she doesn't report to us from the city. We have no oversight on what Helen does or says. But I can tell you, if she was in my company and her performance this week, she'd be unemployed. She spread a lot of stuff that didn't need to be spread also into the public. So I'm glad we got this thing back onto the rails. We went through every department the same ways we did the library. Again, nothing is set in stone. These are great dialogues, and I think the only way that we can get a reaction out of the library to adjust some of their thinking is to do what we did. So good job there, and let's have a great week. Thanks.
Craig.
Just very quickly, I want to reiterate what Rick said as well. I'm glad that we had a nice crowd tonight. I thought that the dialogue was good. It was healthy. It got us back on track. Julie, I thought you did a great job of sharing your perspective to frame what you and Rick were trying to present 10 days ago, and I think that gets us back on track for good dialogue. And again, we'll visit a week from Wednesday as we do wrap up. Thank you.
Mike.
You know, I would echo what my two fellow councilmen said. I really appreciate the dialogue and the input and the engagement with the residents, and this is how we get things done. And so I encourage you to continue to have that. And as always, I again want to thank city staff. You guys work real hard, and sometimes it's thankless. But thank you for what you guys do and the work that you put in. And the citizens need to know you guys are working very hard and answering every question that you can answer and digging in deep to do the job that you've been hired to do. And so thank you.
Echo everybody down the road here. I'm glad that I was afforded the opportunity to answer the young man's citizen concerns today with the library and to dispel some of these untruths, I'm going to say. Again, we just asked, take a little look. What can we do differently? Could it be a 4-branch model? If it could, what would that budget be looking like? We think that we can cut it by this much. We didn't set a number. We asked them to set a number. So I just want to be clear on that. We're not closing a branch. We're not closing downtown. We're not looking to get rid of. We're thinking that perhaps we could serve the community better by adding a couple. That's really all I have today. I'm just really glad that we had a lot of great dialect. We had a lot of people that love our library. They love our museum. They love the art center, which is great. I've never voted one time no to anything that Helen has ever asked for the library. I don't believe this entire council has. So it's not the council out to get the library. It's the council trying to be fiscally responsible and taking information from the committees that we depend on to help guide us from what they believe would be a good direction. All I have today.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Berenstein?
Aye, yes, whatever.
Bertrand? Rayford?
Aye.
Shaner?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Hey, let me switch.